To further Saint-Georges' aristocratic education, his father employs the great composers of Paris, Gossec, Leclerc, and Lully, to teach his son to play the violin. With this turn to music, Saint-Georges discovers his calling. He devotes himself completely to mastering the violin.
His technique was extraordinary, almost as if the virtuoso fencer transferred his right-hand technique with the sword to the bow.
Each year, Saint-Georges' teacher Gossec organizes special concerts featuring the best musicians from across France, united in one orchestra called Les Concerts des Amateurs. He invites Saint-Georges to play first violin. It is a daring choice. Saint-Georges is an anomaly in the white world of high society concert music, but he is not intimidated, and his performances are virtuosic. The young violinist is rewarded with an enthusiastic reception from Parisian audiences.
I really believe that him being a mulatto in a white society made him work harder towards being recognized.
Saint-Georges quickly masters the contemporary repertoire. Inspired, he turns to composition as a new way to challenge himself. He becomes passionate about discovering the limits of the violin and how far they can be pushed.
The way that he wrote his music is so indicative of somebody who's like, I gotta be number one, I gotta be up there.
His writing is very virtuosic. It's clear that he could get around the instrument very easily and had no technical limitations whatsoever in any regard.
Saint-Georges' virtuosic experiments on the violin lead him to discover the instrument's potential to spar against the orchestra in new, more aggressive ways. The result is a dynamic new form of music, the symphony concertante, which is legendarily challenging for performers.
When you play the concertos of Saint-Georges, you're not going to have a walk in the park. You're going to sweat a little bit.
Even in some modern repertoire, I've never played quite as high on the fingerboard. I mean, what is it? I mean, I'm way up there. He keeps shooting you up there and then immediately back down. So I had to figure out how to do that.
Oftentimes your hands will be, like this, or you'll be asked to do all these different things and come up with all sorts of interesting bowing. This is exciting for the audience. It's exciting for me.
There was like about 4 measures that were just going to break me, or every night I kind of went like, oh my God, am I going to get it tonight?
The way that St. George used the bow and the technique and the effects that he produced must have surprised Mozart when he was in Paris. Because we know that when he went back from Paris, he wrote one of the greatest works, the Symphony Concertante in E-flat major for violin and viola. And there we know that there is an influence directly from St. George, because there is a passage which is very uncomfortable because virtuosically it's difficult, which towards the end of Mozart's Symphony Concertante in E-flat, it sounds like this. And the St. George Concerto, Opus 5, number 2, has a passage that in E major goes. You see, there is a difference. It's half a tone higher. Mozart's in E-flat and he's in E major. But they're identical and they're not typical passages used at the time.
St. George's performances gain him celebrity in European high society. In 1773, he is appointed to direct Gossek's Concert des Amateurs. It is a triumph for this ambitious outsider. The doors to the ruling class are opened, and St. George makes himself a fixture in the courts of the aristocracy. He is even invited to Versailles and plays with the Queen, Marie Antoinette. St. George begins to win a reputation among society women for his exotic looks and growing fame. Their courtship of St. George makes him believe that he might truly become one of their own.
St. George obviously was a great lover. This man was a ladies' man. I think he was a serious ladies' man.
He certainly had his share of love affairs, it seems. He seems to have seduced everybody's wife, all the prominent noblemen of the time.
His liaisons with women probably gave him a lot of satisfaction in more ways than one. But he was unmarriageable as far as European society was concerned.